Breaking, and it still may be going on right now. Just a short while ago, Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg hopped onto a conference call to face head-on a New York Times article out today that slammed the company on how it's dealt with crises. He addressed the elephant in the room, a scathing report suggesting that the social media giant knew about Russian interference during the 2016 presidential election and did nothing about it. Christina Parks-Nevelis has been looking at the headlines, listening to the conference call. She's in the newsroom. He says it is grossly unfair to suggest executives ignored the Russia stuff, right?
Exactly. There was a lot going on this call, so I want to get straight to those numbers and the interference. The numbers that we're seeing right now is that Facebook has said that they want to be more transparent. What they mean by that is just in the last 2 quarters alone, they have taken down 1.5 billion fake accounts, 12.4 million pieces of terrorism propaganda, and they say the reason the number is so big is because there was some old stuff that they took down. And then this scary number, 8.7 million pieces of content of sexual exploitation and child nudity. So those were the transparency report, the fact that they are working, they're improving AI, they're hiring new people to take down hate mail, to take down terrorism content. But they did say that they're going to be creating an independent body. That's the latest news we're seeing right now. An independent body that will determine whether posts should be taken down, and people can appeal to this independent body. Regarding the New York Times piece that you were mentioning, Zuckerberg did address it on the call. Listen into his comments.
I've said many times before that we were too slow to spot Russian interference, too slow to stand it, and too slow to get on top of it. And we certainly stumbled along the way. But to suggest that we weren't interested in knowing the truth, or that we wanted to hide what we knew, or that we tried to prevent investigations is simply untrue.
So there are 2 major points from the New York Times article. The first one being that, yes, Facebook did know about the Russian interference, but they only let the public know a year later. There is a statement that was put out from the Facebook board today saying that we did indeed push them to move faster, them being Zuckerberg and Sandberg. So there was some holdback in sharing that information with the public. And the other big takeaway of that New York Times article is the fact that Facebook hired a PR firm to put the blame, deflect blame, start talking about Google instead, other tech firms, and to create this anti-George Soros movement that he's involved with a lot of the anti-Facebook. And so this has been what's going on. George Soros' camp is saying that you need to address this. There should be an internal investigation. But it seems to be an ongoing story with Facebook. They say we connect 2 million people around the globe. Of course, we're going to see good and bad posts.
Everybody should just read a book. Get
Yes.
on Facebook. Christina, this is a stunning development. I do want to tell our viewers that the stock is near bear market territory. It's down about 19% since its recent highs. It is coming back slightly today, but not by much. Christina, thank you.
It's really a bombshell series of revelations coming from the New York Times, which is investigating Facebook. Ashley, I think you've read the whole thing.
It's like 28 pages.
Give me the headlines.
But basically what it says is that Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg ignored warning signs of the social platform being exploited. They tried to conceal that extent from public view. They tried to deflect and mask the extent of the problem. Once they had to fess up, they decided to go 2 directions. Mark Zuckerberg going on the apology tour, Sheryl Sandberg in the background trying to lobby those lawmakers that were most critical of Facebook. It's not a very flattering article on Facebook and the way it's handled, the exploitation of its platform, in particular with Russian influence during the 2016 presidential election. But also we find out in the course of this report that Chuck Schumer was a huge ally of Facebook, was trying to work behind the scenes to deflect some of the criticism. His daughter works for Facebook here in New York as a marketing manager. But as time goes on, both the left and the right both started to be very critical of Facebook because of its lack of ability to stop it from being exploited by people who wanted to do just that.
Very critical of Sandberg and Zuckerberg.
Very
critical.
And their lack of response to what's going on.
Stocks down this morning, $2.142. Now, look at this number. It's from Pew Research. 68% of Americans have either quit or taken a break from social media this year. Market watcher Michelle McKinnon with Payne Capital Management with us now. That's a surprisingly large number. Real headache for Facebook, surely.
A very headache for Facebook. And Facebook, again, just can't catch a break. I feel like it's negative headline after negative headline after negative headline. In terms of the social media break, though, I mean, I have to say it, Stuart. I was thinking the other night, I'm getting carpal tunnel in my thumb because of all the tweeting that I've been doing. And I've been thinking about taking a break. I mean, this is a real problem, and I think could potentially only get worse.
What can the government or anybody else do to Facebook that would really hurt them and, at the same time, remedy the situation? I can't think of anything they can do.
I mean, they could take the path of the EU. Because that is a path.
That's right, Ashley.
You know,
GDPR, very strong regulations
exactly.
and huge fines if you do not protect people's privacy. But
it's liability.
There's liability. But to Stu's point, we make the comparison with whack-a-mole. You have computer-generated bots that are continuing to use this platform. As soon as you knock one down, another one pops up somewhere else. It's almost impossible to stop.
I don't see how they can stop this. I don't see how you can police a 2 billion person network. 2 billion,
exactly. And you feel like they had no idea it was going to get to 2 billion, and now they have to create the infrastructure.
You regulate them like a utility.
Exactly.
Mark Zuckerberg said we're an information utility. So
the other big tech company in the news is Apple. Very close to bear market territory, down about 20% from its high. Would you hazard a guess? Where's the bottom?
I know, right?
It's at 188 right now. Where's the bottom?
It was at 139 2 years ago. I mean, Apple had a huge move last year, up over 48%. So it definitely was due for a little bit of a correction. But honestly, Stuart, out of all the tech names, I actually like Apple the best for the long run. It's diversified. You know, they sell computers, they sell iPhones, they sell those awesome AirPods that I love. They also are a service-based company. So of all the tech, I actually feel Apple could be the winner here.
Do you own it yourself?
Yes, I do.
You do own it? Are you recommending to your clients, I mean, you're a wealth management kind of person, you buy them at 188?
You know, I think it's important to have all stocks here, and tech probably will go higher here, but I wouldn't just go deep dive into Apple and go all in on a heavy position right now. It's too uncertain at the moment.
Dabble.
Dabble, light dabble.
I'm a dabbler myself on occasion, but not on Apple. Let me return to that headline in the Washington Post, which says, Trump's big 2020 problem, the economy could be in recession. Martin Feldstein still with us. Martin, recession by 2020, what say you?
Good chance.
Good chance.
Really? You know, as I've said on your program a number of times in the past, stocks are way out of line with historic experience. Price-earnings ratio, 40% higher for the S&P price-earnings ratio. Long-term interest rates are rising. They've doubled in the last 2 years. The 10-year Treasury's doubled in the last 2 years. So it's a little over 3 now, but I think it's heading to 5. If it gets to 5, I think the stock market will say, we've got to normalize also. 5 wouldn't be an unreasonable place for the 10-year Treasury, 2.5 real, but the stock market is not going to stay way out of line if long-term interest rates are that high.
What a day, Professor.
Sorry,
we've got trouble in Europe, we've got trouble in Britain.
Well,
we've
but
got
you
trouble
asked
with
me
the
to come.
No.
And you know what I think
right.
about these things? I think the real risk is that if stocks come down, consumer spending falls, and that pushes us into a recession where the Fed doesn't have the ability to offset it in the usual way by a big drop in interest rates.
Martin Feldstein has credibility, and that counts a lot in this business. Martin, thank you very much for being with us.
Very good being
much
with
obliged.
you. Okay.
Thank you. All right, where are we going to open the market? With a lot of negatives in the background here. We're going to be down a bit, about 30 points off for the Dow, a fractional loss for the NASDAQ. Here's another headline. Winter's coming early, and I mean seriously. A big storm bringing rain, sleet, snow to a huge swath of the country. More than 80 million people are in the storm's path. Could bring a foot of snow in some locations. And then we have Amazon. Not everybody's happy about their move to Queens. Big protests in New York City. Local politicians and some residents not happy about the tax breaks Amazon is getting. They say New York got a raw deal. We'll discuss. Big guest coming up next, Kimball Musk, brother of Elon. He's also on Tesla's board of directors. How does he feel about Robin Denham taking over as chair? We'll ask him, and he's next.